lab friends? This is Miss Shinners here. I just want to say that I truly miss you guys so much. I wish that we were doing our usual review party, but unfortunately, here's where we're at. Today, I'd love to just walk you through some problems you might see similarly tomorrow, and please email me with any questions that you have. Please just check in with me. Actually, that's going to be your assignment for Thursday before the test, is I just want you to send me an email about how you're feeling for the test and if you have any last minute questions, okay? But for today, just watch this video, follow along, and let's get started, guys. So part 1 wants us to solve this equation for y. Oopsie. So if I solve this for y, I need to kick off, how did this 3 get over there? What is happening? I need to kick off this positive 3x. So that means I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And I get 4y equals 12 minus 3x. 12 and 3x are not like terms, so I cannot combine them at all. My last step is to divide everything by 4. To get y by itself, 12 divided by 4 is 3. 3 divided by 4 does not simplify at all, so I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. Now the slope is what's being multiplied by the x. So this is going to be my slope, right? And don't forget the negative. So my slope would be negative 3 over 4, since that's what's being multiplied by my x. Awesome. Now this next one sounds a little tricky, but it's actually pretty easy when you just pick an example. Is the sum of the following even or odd? So when I take an odd and an odd, what do I get? What is 1 plus 3? It's 4, which is even. So when you take 2 odds, you get an even. What about an even and an odd? For example, 2 plus 3, 2 is even and 3 is odd, and I get 5, which is odd. So 2 odds make an even and an odd make an odd. And last but not least, what's 2 plus 4? That gives me 6. An even and an even keeps it an even, okay? So the only way to get an odd is to have one, not both, of your numbers be odd, okay? Let's look at this next one here. The perimeter of a rectangle is 30 units. So hopefully you remember that perimeter is just this plus this plus this plus this. So when I add up those 4 sides, I should get 30 units. That's my perimeter. The length is this side, the width is this side. If the length is 5 units more than the width, if the length is 5 units more, so 5 plus w equals the length, what is the width? All right, so maybe you're able to do this in your head, maybe not. Let's take the perimeter. This plus this plus this plus this has to equal 30. So 5 plus w plus w plus 5 plus w equals 30. So let's combine some like terms. W plus w plus w plus w gives me 4w. 5 plus 5 gives me 10. Subtracting 10 from both sides gives me 20. So I get a width of 5 units. Doesn't give me what the centimeters or inches are, any of those things. So I'll just leave it as that. Awesome. Let's move on to the next one. 5% of 40 is 1/10 of what number? All right, let's start with making 5% a decimal. So if you remember from one of our previous lessons, I divide by 100 to convert into a decimal. So that would be 5 divided by 100, and I get 0.05. So 0.05, so 5% of 40, of always means multiplication. So I'm going to take 0.05. I think I can write it on here. Does this work? No, that did not work at all. All right. Experiment is over. 0.5 times 40 of means multiplication. And what do I get? I forgot to look at the answer. Silly me. 2. So that gives me 2. So 2 is 1/10 of what number? So 2 divided by what number gives me 1/10? Okay, well, think about these as ratios, okay? So from, 1 to 2, I'm multiplying by 2. So if I multiply 2 down here, isn't 2/20th the same thing as 1/10? So 20 is the right answer. 2 is 1/10 of 20. So set up your equivalent fraction here, and that's how you solve that one. That one's a little tricky, so send me an email if you need a couple more practice problems of those, and I can set that up for you. The next one wants us to factor. So I know, Nafisa, you make your boxes, and that is awesome, girl. You can make your box over here. I think the rest of you use your diamond problem. So B goes on the bottom, A goes underneath, and then A times C, or 2 times -7 goes up top. Nafisa, you'll set yours up this way. So what multiplies to -14 but adds to 5? It's going to be 1 positive and 1 negative. Okay, so think 1 and 14, 2 and 7. That's it. All right, well then it's going to be 2 and 7 because they're 5 apart. Which one should be negative? If I wanted to add to a positive, the smaller number has to be negative. So Nafisa, you should be getting this. And now let's see, let's divide and slide. -2 divided by 2, that gives me x minus 1. 7 divided by 2, that can't reduce. So I've got to divide and slide. So I get x minus 1 and 2x plus 7 for my factors. So Nafisa, you should have gotten 2x plus 7 and x minus 1. Right? That would give me -2x and 7x, which gives me 5x. All right. So x minus 1, 2x plus 7. Always check that you're factoring correct by making sure this times this has to equal the first term there. All right? Okay. Let's see. Hopefully I'm not boring you too much. Let's keep working here. I think we've got some time. Okay, so x plus 11 squared, why isn't this writing? That just means, there we go. That just means x plus 11 times x plus 11. So let's build our rectangles. X times x is x squared. X times 11 is 11. X times 11 is 11x. And 11 times 11, that's 121, I believe. But you better check my math on that one. I'm a little rusty right now. These are like terms. So when I add this up, I can take x squared plus, this will give me 22x plus 121. And the product, that sum being factored, is x plus 11 times x plus 11, which is x plus 11 squared. Okay. Number 7 wants us to use the zero product property to solve each equation. So find all x values that get us to 0. So if you've been watching my videos, you know that I tell you once you have something factored, then to get to the x-intercepts, it's just the opposites. What's the opposite of a -7? A +7. What's the opposite of a negative? What's the opposite of +5? -5. So those are your two x-intercepts. This one isn't factored for us yet, so we are going to have to solve for it the hard way. Now, whenever you've got a two-termer like this, I always check for a greatest common factor. This is me checking for it. What's the GCF between 4 and 16? 4. So I'm going to divide them both by 4. They also both have an x in common. So I'm going to pull out a 4x out front. And what's left behind is going to be x minus 16 divided by 4 gives me x minus 4. So let's use the zero product property. I set these both equal to 0. I set these both equal to 0 over here. So 4x equals 0 or x minus 4 equals 0. X equals 0 or x equals 4. So to write that as ordered pairs, it's 0, 0 or 4, 0. Cool. Let's see how much time we have left here. Alrighty, let's get to number 11 here. The value of a car decreases exponentially. Oh my God, this is the last problem. Awesome, great timing. All right, decreases exponentially. Right when you see exponentially, write down y equals ab to the x. You bought a new car in 2015. Let x be the number of years since 2015. Let y be the value of the car. So this is 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018, okay? What is the equation that models the data? So A is my starter, so A would be 40,000. My multiplier I'm going to find by dividing any term with the term that comes before it. And I better get something that's less than 1 because the problem said it was decreasing in value. So either the problem is lying to us or I made a mistake, right? We should get something less than 1 since it's decreasing. Okay, I get 0.87, which makes sense when I divide those two numbers. So there's my equation. What percent is represented by the multiplier? To go from a decimal to a percent, I multiply by 100. Or some of you might have it memorized to move the decimal place to the right. Everything you own in the box to the right. No, it's to the left. Do you guys know that song? Let me know in the comments if you do. All right, what percent is represented by the multiplier? It's 87%. What is the percent decrease? This is the little tricky part. If the car was staying the same in value, the value would stay as 100%. So what do I have to subtract away from 100% to get to 87? What's 100% minus 87%? 13%. So 13% of the car's value is losing. I'm losing that, right? So that's how you get your percent decreases. Subtract it from 100. Use your equation to predict the value of the car in 2022. So remember that X is the years since 2015. Okay, so 2022 is how many years after 2015? Let's subtract those quick. I think it's 7 years, right? I think that's right. So then I'm going to plug in 7 in for X. No, it's 0.87. Thinking of the problem we did earlier. All right, so 0.87 to the 7th power. All right, so get your calculator or Desmos. Where did my Desmos go? I lost my Desmos tab. There it is. There it is. We're all probably learning so much about our computers. 1, 2, 3. Actually, you guys probably already know all this. Maybe I'm just learning. Caret, what did I say? To the 7th power? Alrighty. So it looks like this car is going to be worth about $15,090 and about 20 cents. So $15,090 and 20 cents if I round that 0.19. All right, so in 7 years, it's going to go down quite a bit. Ooh, that's pretty